You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrell. As always, I'm joined by our co-host, Dakota Davis. Our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. It's a show about folks who are involved in politics. We have promised that our episodes are going to be a fun and easy listen. We interview people who are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks we just find interesting. Today is a bit of a deviation from that because as far as I know, our guest has no political involvement whatsoever. He did drive up this morning from Georgia. Did you stop in Alabama and vote for a Senate candidate or anything?
No, I've heard that's getting pretty crazy over there though, but didn't do that today.
Didn't do that. So we've got on my right is Ben Smith, a native of Newcastle, Indiana. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into Ben's profile here a little bit, but he's been an athlete, he's been a model, an actor, and since he was coming home for the winter vacation here, we said, "Hey, you're in town. Let's get you on the show, and we're going to get to know you a little bit." And then on the other side of the room is the bride of my co-host Dakota. We've got Audrey Jo Davis now.
Yep, that would be great.
Getting used to that one.
I know, me too.
You signing your name right on checks?
No.
Did you sign Dakota's checks?
Only like half the time.
Yeah, understand. Dakota, how are we doing, buddy?
Doing good. It's a little bit different. Usually I have people over here on Thursdays. My dog's really not going to know what to think whenever there are 2 nights this week that we have a parade of people barraging through the house.
Your dog is going to have a lot to think about this week.
Oh, yeah, she is.
You're going to have a lot to think about this week, Jeremiah.
I was enjoying my last little tiny bit of sanity tonight before I came over. Ben, I don't know what happened to me, but I accidentally bought a puppy or adopted a puppy.
Okay.
We got puppy fever on it last week, I guess? How did this happen? Audrey and Sarah, my fiance, Dakota, and I, we've got a group chat going all the time, and we always send each other dog pictures, and I thought this was just like any other time.
Right.
And next thing I knew, 2 hours later, we had an agreement on a price.
That's right.
And we were going to go visiting, and puppy comes home tomorrow night.
You seem to be worried about Daisy, my German Shepherd. I'm more worried about you.
Very concerned.
Getting through...
You seem to be really stressed about this.
I am a little bit stressed about this. Getting through the first couple weeks is going to be my worry. After that, I think we're going to be just fine. But everybody, I just, when I read things online and they say, oh, you got to they can't hold their bladder for more than 2 hours. I'm like, that's impossible. Impossible. So we'll see. It may end up hating me after it's all over. I don't know.
Your dad said, please pass the popcorn. He thinks it's going to be entertaining, too.
Yeah. Well, my parents got a dog about 1.5 years ago. They got a full-size poodle, and they've been the ones in the family that have always had to go home and take care of the dog. And
right.
I'm sure there will be comments of things that I've gotten into, and I'm just gonna have to suck it up. Because
if nothing else, it's gonna make for really great content.
That's right. We'll do anything for content around here.
Yeah,
content, Jer.
For ratings. All about the ratings. So yeah, I walked in here with a fistful of cash, and poor Ben, but he just met me, and he watches me bring a cooler in.
That's right.
And bring about $300 in cash to pay Dakota.
Mm-hmm. We'll just the dog show
it's
up
all
sometime
It's all about trust, yeah. It looks like I'm either buying something or selling something or giving him change for the organs that came in the cooler. Nobody knows for sure.
Nobody knows. We're going to let the suspense go. That way, Zach, my neighbor, whenever he listens to this, he'll be really wondering, like,
what happened?
Yeah, what was in the cooler? We should make a T-shirt now that says that. Boss Hog of Liberty, what's in the cooler?
What's in your cooler?
He never said anything when Danny climbed over the fence with a gun.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
He said that he wasn't home, otherwise he would have said something.
He would have noticed. We've had some interesting shows.
Sounds like it. I like it.
We had a guest that got sick. My baby brother, Danny. He lives out by Westwood, so a few miles from town, and he was on the chat here and volunteered to come sit in the empty chair over there. And he just happened to need to drop off a .22 rifle for me. So the front door was locked, and Danny's like, oh, don't let that stop him.
Yeah.
He scales the 6-foot fence out back and jumps it with a 22 rifle in a case, and he's still locked out. The back door's locked too, so didn't help.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Didn't help.
I kept hearing that was the funniest thing, because I kept hearing the knocking on the door, and Danny's like, "Hey, I'm here," and I go downstairs and I go to the front door. I'm like, "There's nobody here," and then the knocking comes from the back door.
Which it is pretty much impossible at your house.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 6-foot privacy fence, and none of the gates can be opened from the outside, so typically that doesn't happen.
It's a miracle. So, all right. Well, so let's get to know Ben a little bit. This is literally like I don't know. Stalking is probably too much, but we've not met before. We've exchanged some messages on the internet over time, and I'm the millennial that actually takes the newspaper. So when you were featured on a TV show 4 or 5 years ago, and that kind of put you on my radar, and added you on Facebook like people do, and and then just kind of followed and cheered you along, whether it's you or Lee Markham at Jack's Donuts or all of our local celebrities. Right. We pay attention. So you graduated from Newcastle High School.
I did
some time ago.
A little while ago.
Not as long ago as I graduated high school. Yeah.
A little while ago.
All right. And then you moved away. I guess you went to college, or did you?
Yeah, I went to school in Louisiana, then came back up here and finished up at IUPUI.
Okay, all right. And then did you played baseball for the Trojans?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And basketball.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So Dakota this is already making Dakota uncomfortable. Sports is not his thing.
No,
it's
really
not.
And see, that's the thing. Like back in whenever you graduated in 2003, high school must have been a very different place, because I did acting in high school, and the people who played baseball and basketball made fun of the people who acted.
I know. Hey, we just flip it around. It's usually what happens. Well, I mean, they don't usually make fun of everybody, but it's usually either one thing flips to the other or whatnot. When you get a little older.
So you played baseball, and then you were drafted. This is like I looked it up, and I was like, I don't know how this process works. So this is just going to be me asking stupid questions, because I
all good.
I was homeschooled, so my brother played homeschool basketball in Indianapolis. I played like at Blue River Optimus League through the 6th grade, and the scouts didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
So somehow you got drafted by the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, I did.
And it was like, I did. First of all, I didn't know how many rounds they had in baseball. I don't know how this works. I don't know if you actually,
a lot of them.
If you hear from anybody or how this process goes.
They have 2 days actually. The first day is usually around 3 to 5 rounds, and they have that pretty much broadcasted online, or I don't know how they do it now.
Right,
it has to be something like that. And then the second day, they just have a scroll going online, and whenever someone gets drafted, I guess the scout, whoever's with you, will call you.
Okay, and
that's how you know. Then you'll see your name run down the board. Then everything will be listed from there.
Very
so
cool.
What was that like, getting the phone call from the scout? Like where?
I got drafted later. I was supposed to go in the first, probably 3 to 5, 6th round. I got hurt playing basketball that year, so I only played half my baseball season. And they drafted me in the 37th round. And basically what they did is they drafted me later. They knew possibly they could get me for really cheap compared to what
you
I was
would have
going to
been.
sign.
Yeah.
But the possibility is still there to sign for that amount. But just things kind of broke down as we got going throughout the summer and ended up going to school.
The baseball draft is off time too, right? It's like late summer. It's not.
Yeah, it's probably the second week of June.
Okay, so it's during the season,
right around there. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, for me, I got drafted out of high school, so I was done for a little while.
Right.
A week or two, probably.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right. But the baseball season, I guess, starts in April.
Like right. Yeah, like MLB. Yeah, they're about halfway, quarter through the season by then.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So then you had the opportunity to try to do something with them, or to go work out with them, or did you actually get to go to any of the minor league stuff, or because you were rehabbing, it was?
No, I ended up.
They had your rights, and that was the extent of it.
Yeah, pretty much. I had my rights until I either signed with a 4-year school, but I actually went to a junior college, I guess, before I went to school in Louisiana. So what that does, if you get drafted, you can wait all the way up until the next day of the draft, and they still have the rights to you. So they could sign you in January or March or whenever they wanted to. But as soon as that day comes around, then you're open game to everybody else.
If they come calling, though, you'll have a conversation even today, right?
Yeah, bring it on.
All right. So, and you were a pitcher, as I asked that question. As we were standing downstairs, Dakota hates it when we book taller guests than he is. And, you know, I'm 6'1", 6'1", depending upon the day.
Yeah.
And I'm dwarfed by Ben. So
it's just that all the guests are usually taller than I am. I'm not a very tall person. So it's not like you're making a really far stretch like, oh, he might be taller than me. Like, he's probably going to be taller than me.
we're going to have a questionnaire as to how tall our guests are going to be.
And then I saw him on TV, and I was like, well, here I am. going to look like a dwarf again.
That's a lot of people, though, so you're good.
That's all right. So, well, in basketball, obviously, that had help with basketball. So, 2003, so you would have been like 2000 to 2003 with the high school team? There were some pretty good teams at that time as well.
There was, yeah. We had a good time.
Yeah. So the state championship teams were 1932 in what year?
2012.
2012. Okay, all right.
Somewhere.
So it was after you.
It was after me.
Yeah.
How old are they? I'm trying to think how old they are. It's probably close. It was probably 5 years after that. 5 to 7.
Yeah, my class at Blue River.
I can't remember.
They just I'm so old. They just adopted class basketball right after I was coming through, and my class at Blue River would have been one of the first classes in the 1A state championship game in 2002. So right after me, a lot of the kids that I went to grade school with got to do that. It was a neat experience for them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you
not
did.
That he's resentful.
I was not basketball was my baby brother thing. I ran video. I got this is media's kind of been my thing, right?
Right.
So I do the podcasting, and I went for 3 years. I followed around the East Side Golden Eagles basketball team, which would, by the way, produced a number of college players. Brenton Burris played at IU East.
I can just see that.
He was actually the leading scorer there for
I can see that so clearly.
Until like 2 years ago.
Danny is playing basketball. Danny's doing really good.
Yeah.
Just doing awesome at basketball. Somehow still, Jeremiah is running the video recorder and is still stealing the attention away from Danny.
It's funny. Danny, he made some comment. We went to the Indy 500, and one of his old basketball buddies was there. And we were at the infield this year, and the buddy, Chris Gamble, who was the coach's son, he said, when the hell did Jeremiah become the popular one? Because I had we had Pat McAfee, his people showed up from Barstool Heartland to our tailgate, and Jeff Bibbert was there, and Todd McComas was there of Barstool Heartland or Barstool Indy, and they were hanging out with our people, and it was just this weird atmosphere. And this guy's like, "How in the hell? What happened?" So no, I wasn't. I make it sound much more exciting than it was. I was, driving around and would go to Martinsville or Anderson or I was in an awful lot of high school gyms, smaller high school gyms doing video. So fun stuff though. So yeah, one day I'll get to hang out with the sports crowd again.
Somebody would be watching, like one of Danny's relatives would be watching the video tape, and Danny's like, "Hey, look at what's coming up here," and I can just see like your grandpa or whoever would be like, "Wow, Jeremiah's doing a great job working the camera."
No, actually, it was more for the coaches. It was coaches' film. We were pretty elaborate in what we did. Turning myself up here. I'm playing producer and talking at the same time, but it was all coaches' film, so it was so that they could do
whatever they had
do
to
review and make their adjustments. It was the most professional homeschool basketball team you'd ever seen. They went to Arlington. They played Arlington. Their JV team, our varsity team did.
Okay.
Went in there and they either beat them or they lost by 1 on the Arlington court.
Really?
Yeah, they were ridiculously good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so played in a bunch of national level tournaments.
But
and stuff.
video
Anyway,
recorder.
but the video guy, man,
did such a good job.
that was high definition in the early 2000s. Anyway, we're here to pick on Ben.
Speaking of video recording, like, how did you get into acting?
Randomly, when I came back up to Indiana, I finished up school at IUPUI, and I worked at LA Fitness in Indianapolis, and I kind of thought about it and never really did anything about it. And a guy came up to me one day and asked me the same thing if I've ever done it. He's like, "Hey, don't take this the wrong way." He's like, "Have you ever thought about doing modeling or anything?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Have you done it?" I was like, "No, I just don't know really what to do."
Right.
And he ended up being the VP at Wiley Publishing. They do all the books for dummies and a whole bunch of other series there.
Absolutely.
And so I was on an iPhone 5.
So you were in the ads for the iPhone 5.
iPhone 5 and then iPad, probably 2 or 3 by then. But I got that going, and then I signed with an agency in Indianapolis, and then signed with another one that's based out of Cincinnati, and did that for a few years, and then took the move down to Atlanta.
So how cutthroat is the acting/modeling industry? Is it like really intense, like what you would see on TVs, or what?
Not for what I ever did. The girls, I mean, I bet they are, because that's high. I mean, that's kind of what they do. I mean, they're crazy about that. But my modeling is more of like, I don't know, not runway or fashion or anything like that. It's more just like catalog.
Yeah.
So
you're there to sell a product, right?
Sit there to wave, like I was waving or walking or something. No, so it wasn't too crazy.
So this is, I feel like this is the only time I will ever get to say this in the history of the show. Half of the people here have IMDb credits. So I know it's a shock. It's me. The
surprise.
Didn't see that one coming.
There was a Newcastle. Once again, I'm not an artistic guy, but I try to help when I can. And Travis Wyke, friend of ours who works for the paper, he was. I don't know how he got involved in it or how he figured it out. He wasn't at the paper yet at the time, but there's a lady named Sandy Slavin. I don't know if you know her or not. She's a film producer here in town, and she's done a bunch of different stuff. She had a little project called Smoke and Mirrors, which was like a local, very, very, very low budget film. That it probably wound up being like 20 or 25 minutes long, and they were looking for places to film. Mm-hmm. Travis signed my house up for me. So Labor Day weekend 2013, I think.
Right.
They had a handful of professional actors came down from Chicago and some locals, and then there were some extras, and I wound up being an extra, and they put my name in there. So if you search for my name,
there you go.
I'm on the IMDb. I'm not David Ben Smith with the professional name. I've got my original Jeremiah Morrell on there.
It's a Christian name.
Yes, my Christian name. So yeah, it was a crazy experience, though. I mean, the amount of work that goes into producing just something like
there's
that.
There's a ton of things that go into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people don't realize, they can just have a camera.
Right.
People walk around to where they say what they need to say, and it's like, all right, done. And you're out of there in 15, 20 minutes. But
they
it didn't quite work that way.
They shot 2 scenes at my house, and it took the entire day. One scene, a guy died in my garage. I think he was he was an overdose or something happened.
This was in the movie.
This was in the movie.
It wasn't one of the actors just OD'd in your garage.
But they had a real City of Newcastle ambulance that was there, and I had just moved into the house like 3 months before. So it looks like I have this huge party, and then an ambulance shows up and leaves with lights on, with a guy in a stretcher, and the neighbors are coming out in the yard going, "What in the hell is going on at Jeremiah's house?"
It's like an episode of Trailer Park Boys.
That's right.
Like where all the all the people you see in the background that are like watching things as they go on. Like apparently those are actual residents of that trailer park.
Oh, are they supposed to be?
Yeah, it's like they're just sitting there watching Trailer Park Boys while it's being filmed. Like they're not extras in a TV show or nothing. I mean, that's how I imagine your neighbors just standing out there watching, dumbfounded.
Yeah. Well, I've provided nothing but entertainment for them since I moved in 4 years ago. So that's when you said you live near White Estates. That if you ask around now, they're like, "Oh yeah, Jeremiah, he's the guy, that guy."
He's the guy that throws the parties. He's the guy I saw a naked woman jump off his roof.
That's happened no more than twice.
And a naked man.
And that one nobody wanted at all. And it wasn't me. That one was not me. So so you did. You got into the modeling thing, and that led into you moving to Atlanta because I guess there's a little bit of an independent art culture, film scene here, but
not a whole lot though. Yeah,
like I would think like Nashville, Tennessee, New York, Los Angeles, or I guess Atlanta has
Atlanta's really grown the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
but Chicago a little bit too. They film a lot of the local like Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, all those TV shows up there, and what else they have? What's the big one that's on TV?
They have the one that's in the emergency room, right? That's filmed in Chicago, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
on A&E Network.
Yeah, there's a really big one though. I can't think of what the name of it is right now.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of that.
There's
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like the one show that, and there's the Last Man on Earth are about the 2 shows that I'm religiously watching right now that are on network TV.
We watch Live PD like every night.
Oh, that's a great show.
I love that. PD.
Yeah, my favorite is like whenever the trooper or the sheriff is pulling over a car for not having a tail light or not using their turn signal to signal a lane change, and then they find like 2 pounds of meth and a pipe. Like if I had
turn signal.
If I had all that meth in my car, I would try to drive a little bit more cautiously.
Exactly. Yeah, one of them's from Jeffersonville, right?
Yeah, I have seen that. They're locals.
Jeremiah, you have no idea.
I do. He got me to watch an episode. I watched it. I borrowed somebody's Hulu account, and I was able to watch an episode or two. I'm amazed, once again, being somewhat techie. I have no idea how in the hell they have the technology to broadcast that stuff up in real time and produce it. It's just it's nuts.
Yeah, I'm always amazed. Like whenever the camera guy is like in a dead sprint following the police officer, I'm like, holy crap! Like,
cameras are big too. It's not like they're little handheld.
Yeah, and like they have
camcorder.
like really big mics on them because they can pick people up as they're sitting in their car and they're on the opposite side. So it's not like it's just a little like it's not like they're using their iPhone to broadcast it back to the A&E headquarters in New York. Like it just blows me away. I think about that almost every time I watch the show.
Mm-hmm. So that was reality TV, and then bringing us full circle, this reality TV thing you did with it was called The Big Time, right? Or was it sponsored by Budweiser?
Yeah, it was sponsored by Budweiser.
We really should have had him with Budweiser here. We screwed that up badly.
Yeah, we really did.
Oh man,
I didn't even think about that.
Damn it! Oh, we failed. This is why we're going to be the second-rate We Are Libertarian show for the rest of our time. You're never going to catch Chris Spangle and his numbers.
Nope.
All right, so how do you get hooked up with that? Because it had been some time since they didn't go down the list of 2003 baseball draftees and get to Ben Smith and go, hey, that's our guy.
Look at this guy. It was from one of our, I don't know what he was exactly at the time, but it was in a person from one of my summer leagues. I think they contacted a lot of summer league GMs and everything like that for all the college kids that had been done to see if they still had people's contact or email or things like that. Then they, I think, sent it out to everybody. And somehow I just randomly found it in my spam. I was like, why'd they send me something? I opened it, and it ended up being that. And
it looked somewhat legitimate.
I was like, you know what? Why not?
Yeah.
I'll give it a try. And I ended up sending on all kinds of paperwork in, and then I think they called me, and then we talked on the phone, and then we had probably like a Skype or something like that after that. And then they flew me out to L.A. for a week. We had all our kind of like a little tryout. And they had just different ways they were rating us and judging us to see who they'd want on the show, and then they were interviewing us. And
it was almost like a gong show kind of a
thing. It was, yeah.
It
was just, and then you had all kinds of, we had to do like a psych test and blood test and just everything to make sure, like we weren't crazy or something. I don't know. And then, it kind of went on from there, and they weeded a few people out.
How much Bud Light do you drink?
Well, I know that's
just enough to make them happy.
Exactly. I have one sitting on the bench with you. But yeah,
they required the entire show to be done buzzed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they hooked it up though.
So you get you did that, and then I guess the winner was going to get some sort of an agreement or a relationship with them. Is it the Mets at the time? Is that what
it
I
was?
remember?
The Mets. Yeah, it was the Brooklyn minor league team.
Okay,
it was probably single A.
Right.
Where they usually start everybody out, but I believe that was where they were based out of. Brooklyn.
So you'd be following. Well, I guess if this had worked out, Tim Tebow would have been following in your footsteps.
Yeah, I actually had probably the best deal out of everybody because people don't know my game that I got out on. My clock broke, and so I had no idea what was going on. It had flashing symbols going through, and you had to match the two up at the same time.
Okay.
And mine was broke, and the other people were doing theirs, so I just kind of standing there. And that's my excuse. I probably wouldn't have won anyway. I probably got third, but. After I lost that, Tom House was our mentor, and he's a legendary kind of pitching coach now. Now he does a lot with the football players like Brady and Manning and Drew Brees and basically everybody you can think of. Huh. So I rode home with him, and he offered to have me come out to California to train with him for 2 or 3 months. Then he was just going to bring everybody in he knew. And basically what he said with the people he was going to bring in would be at either... at that time I was upper 20s, mid 20s. They're like, doing this, it's either going to end really fast or you're going to move up really fast.
Right.
But I ended up, I don't know, my knee was messed up, so I wouldn't pass physical. So I just ended up not doing it then.
Said the heck with it.
Yeah.
I can smile and act, and we'll go down that path.
Exactly, yeah. That was way before not way before, but that was right about the same time where I really started getting into everything.
Okay.
So is that how that usually happens? Like people find you, or is it people you know? Like I know this guy who is this on that knows the producer of this, and
Yeah, a lot of times it is like that.
Hairline connections, or is it? Yeah.
There'll be some people that just randomly start doing it and like it. A lot of people start out as an extra, just kind of make some money, and then kind of start to know people, and then try to build their way up from there. But that's a tough way to go about it, but still fun for them.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. So this is the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast, episode 33. Jeremiah Morrell and Dakota Davis here with Ben Smith of Newcastle. Kind of catching up with him, local done good. He's on. We're going to get into this in a second, but you'll find him on Amazon Prime. He's featured in a show called Living V, and then the other side of the room we have the Audrey Joe PV Davis connection.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hyphenate my name.
Well, you should have. You're insulting your mother and your father and the entire family. Oh, well. So you then the other cool thing you got to do is you've been on some other TV shows.
I have,
right?
Yeah.
So you were on Nashville, at least an episode here and there, right?
Yeah.
So what was that like? That was a very big budget, major show. I guess it's still going on.
Different than our Amazon show right now, but yeah, it's crazy. That was one of the first things I ever did, and they just grabbed me and threw me down. You know, there's all these cameras and the producers and directors and like Connie Britton and all those people are just walking around, just kind of like, hey, you know, like, what do I do? Do I just stay here? Do I say something? You know, but yeah, it's a really good experience.
You played an assistant on Nashville, correct?
Yeah, it was her husband's assistant.
Okay. Is it like what you see in the TV shows? Like a set like that? Is there like a big buffet of food and drinks?
This one is for the most part outside because it's nice outside. But there's food trucks and they'll have usually tents or something set up, or they'll have all kinds of food set up over there.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Dakota wants to act just for the act for
That's
for
right.
food.
Yeah, I mean
they give the extras
awesome.
food too. So hey, even then you can eat some food.
So and then to pay that gig probably didn't cover everything for you. So you were doing personal training and stuff along the way there too.
Yeah, that was the time where for a year or two I'd go down to Atlanta for about 2 or 3 months in the summer. And at that point I did really just a lot of extra work to get to know people and know how things work and everything like that, because up here really I did a few commercials and some print things and just kind of not near the production of what it is there. So that's what I really started doing. And then once I finally got an agent, that's when I moved down there.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So the how does getting an agent work? We may need agents, Dakota. do they just say whatever we get you, we'll give you a cut, or do you have to? How does that business arrangement typically work? Consider me the village idiot. So when I'm asking too much,
and then she gets a certain percent. No, you're fine. And then we'll have like a base price for like books for like an hour, or you can do a certain higher price for a day, or in Atlanta everything's still right to work because everything's non-union, but the SAG rules are automatically, they're scaled out no matter what, so she didn't have to worry about anything like that. But everything non-union, she can negotiate with whoever she needs to, or a lot of times they'll just have, hey, pays $200 a day or does whatever. Just kind of go with that.
So you've now are a part of this program called Living V. Mm-hmm. Dakota and Audrey and I had a screening on Saturdays because we knew you were coming up, and we had to get ourselves up to speed.
We had like 7 people watching the first episode of Living V in Jeremiah's family room on one of the 2 TVs he has.
Right.
It's a very exclusive neighborhood down there in White Estates. You can have. I'm a big sports fan. Dakota doesn't understand it, but sometimes when
one day,
when the Colts are on and you've got to watch baseball on the top screen or Butler or something, you've got to have 2, and in an emergency you go grab the third one because there might be an IndyCar race that I have to watch.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
it depends upon the season.
That just seems like so much. I don't know why you would do that to yourself, honestly.
And then I'm going to watch a puppy.
I think we know why he does that to himself.
So
to keep his mind stimulated.
I'm always going.
We're not going to say the A word on air.
Oh, yeah. You give me hell for it if you want to, but it's I'm scheduled. I'm like Tom Griswold scheduled at this point.
I'm like, I walked the first time in your house. I walked in there and I was like, okay, everything's normal. And then I walked into the back family room, and you had 2 flat-screen TVs, and they're hanging off of the wall, mounted on. One of them's hanging off the wall, mounted on top of the other one, like directly above it. It's like 2 big computer monitors, right?
Yeah. What's the problem?
It's just so strange. I thought that anything you watch on TV was meant to be either entertaining or educating.
So there's a guy named Steve Zabin. Do you know who Steve Zabin is? He was a national radio host out of Washington, D.C. He was on Fox Sports Radio in the mornings, Sporting News, Yahoo, and some other stuff.
Name sounds familiar.
And he would always talk about his 5-hour Energy Dome, which is he sponsored his own basement apparently. And he had 3 TVs, so you got one big TV set up, and then you got like a 50-inch and a 42 and a 42 flanking
important TV, and then kind of off to the side.
So you've got so you can monitor
TVs. Yeah.
So that's I love to when I get the downtime, I will put on a hockey game or the Olympics going on. I need 2 or 3 TVs to watch the curling and the downhill skiers.
You start seeing commercials, and you find out that Jeremiah is not the only person like this. Like DirecTV markets packages for people to watch multiple games on one television.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
There
are more Jeremiahs out in the world, and that's we only thought we could handle one.
That's we can only handle.
You can only handle the one. Yeah, that's why you're not a sports fan. You've got the Red Zone channel on one. You've got your your home, your in market Colts game or whatever on the other.
Right.
So I assume since you played sports, you follow at least somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
rough year, huh?
The day job has me taking customers to games, and we're season ticket holders for the Colts, and I made it to one game this year.
Did you really?
We're podcasting Thursday. I'm not going to go sit through the Denver game. Not doing it. Not a chance in hell. There was a story in the Indianapolis Star today that if you want to go to the Colts game Thursday, people are literally throwing their tickets away. Upper level's like $5 to go right now, and
I heard they're having a little
it's like
problem
$20 to get in the lower bowl. So if you want to see the one of the last 3 games Chuck Pagano ever coaches, you're more than welcome to buy a ticket for next to nothing.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Now the game this week. This week's we should just give
going.
the Audrey's. We're trying to introduce this wall sports thing, right? So we've done it the last couple of weeks. That's
Danny's thing.
I know,
but
he's not here.
Are you trying to take over Danny again?
Yeah.
Yep. Just like with the video camera,
overshadowing my baby brother.
Poor baby brother.
Do you have a brother?
I do. 2 of them.
How are they? Older or younger?
Younger.
Do they look older? My younger brother looks much older.
Almost. My middle brother and me, you probably wouldn't notice who really was older. And my other brother, he's 21.
Okay.
So you can tell he's younger.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got my baby brother is 3 years younger than me.
Jeremiah's like 45.
The hell I am. I'm 34. I'm guessing Ben is 32.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'm 34. Danny is 31, and then the little sister is 23. So there's 11 years between myself and the sister. She and I had very different childhoods. They were perfect parents with me, and then by the time the 2 older sons go through, they give up. Yeah, they give up on her.
Yeah.
So all right.
No fair.
So we've Audrey messed us up completely. I apologize for her behavior.
I messed you up?
Yeah, sure. I
got
do
off track talking about all of Jeremiah's televisions, and you just can't bring that up in a podcast that's supposed to go anywhere. All of your televisions are way too distracting. Like, we're just talking about them, not even looking at them, and they're already distracting. I have a rebuttal, Mr. Morrell?
Look, because I have these TVs, they're like $200. They're very affordable. When you come over and you bring your Xbox, we can play in the living room, and we don't have to use.
We've
the
already
chat.
done that before. Like,
right,
you had a spare TV. Like.
He has a Minecraft TV.
Sure, why not?
I like it.
Why not? If you can live that way, they're disposable. I moved out for the first time in my life 10 years ago. I bought a 42-inch TV. It cost me like $1,100. I can go buy that for like $92 at Walmart right now. They're just utility items. So anyway.
You didn't know where to put another TV, so you just bought a dog instead.
So yeah,
all the extra cash is just sitting around.
I'm going to get him a little 5-inch screen to watch while I'm gone.
That's right.
So on one of my TVs, we did watch Living V.
All right.
Right. So there's a professional segue for you, Audrey Joe. Yeah. Tell me how a show like that gets made. How does it get on Amazon? Any of that stuff? Because it's like it's obviously a big deal to have a major distributor like that.
Yeah.
The thing I was on is on YouTube. You have to go find the link, and and there's no commercial anything on it.
Right.
Obviously on Amazon, it's a market.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So tell me about that.
As far as I know, how everything worked is she put Brittany, our executive producer and director, and pretty much everything else right now, who's amazing by the way. She for the first part, had to have the script ready, have an idea of what was going to happen. We had to send in, like a 5 or 6 minute video overview of what the show was going to be about and where it's going and what was going to happen with it. And then we had, I don't know what all else. They sent in a ton of stuff. And then after we got all that and got that approved, they said, all right, now send us like a little teaser, like a 5 to 6 minute video of kind of how the show is going to play out. So that's what we did. I ended up at first having a smaller role in it. I was actually filming and didn't think I was actually going to be able to get down to the actual audition that one day, but ended up doing it. And when we were filming the teaser, a person, couldn't make it. It was on Mother's Day, I believe, and I was in Atlanta, and
they picked
obviously
mom
my mom
instead
was
of,
not here or there. So I was like, I'm free, and then so I filmed that part, and then everything went really well. And then throughout that time, we just kind of made my way up to be
and now you're a dentist.
Doctor. Yep, doctor.
Now you're a dentist. Now you're Dr. Crentist.
That's right.
Bryan Cranston started as a dentist on Seinfeld, so I think you're following in his footsteps, right? Then he became Walter White.
Yeah, we filmed all that and sent it in, and we got approved. And then started filming from there, trying to do the same thing, almost like your story, trying to figure out places to film, trying to find money, trying to figure out, when you have money to film a TV show just like that, some things are,
I'm sure you guys
$3 million budget like a lot of the other ones do.
You guys used people's houses, I'm sure, and found sets where you had,
and
things
then,
that you could use.
Different restaurants, and people down there are amazing for what they did for us and how much they appreciated what we were going to do. Everything's booming down there, so everybody's kind of wanting to be in it, and it gave them some exposure as well. And it's cool for them and cool for us, and we made it. And, we're working on episode 2 right now. It should be done before too long. And then when we get episode 3 done is when we can send off to Hulu, I believe. And then once season 1 is done, then we send off to Netflix. And hopefully, as episodes keep going, everything's going to be a little smoother so it doesn't take us as long and everything can kind of transition a little better and we get it pumped out here.
Very cool.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you wound up being kind of the heel of the show. Like I don't know how much you want to give away, but watching it, you're not the sweet guy everybody wants to.
I know they wanted me to be, and I didn't end up that way. But it keeps on going in episode 2 as we go along here as well.
Okay. So you're not written out after what happens in the first one. Your character continues on.
Make it. Yeah, she's keeping me hanging around for some reason after that. But
oh man,
it's because you have the scrubs, man.
That's right.
Episode 2, do you get to do any oral surgery or anything?
I don't know what we're going there for. But season 2 will be kind of a branch off, I believe, if everything goes away. It has been a separate storyline once episode 1 kind of goes through the whole what happens with us, and then she finds a new man, and there I am trying to figure out what to do again.
Uh-oh.
And then I'm probably going to be the same way she was,
You're stuck
hanging on to her.
You're stuck between V and trying to figure out what you're going to do with this other girl.
I know. Talia and all my other dental assistants, and man.
It's like a love triangle,
confusing.
but more of like a love trapezoid, because there's more than 3 people.
Man, that's beyond my business education. I got through my business degree with one math class.
Yeah,
and we didn't cover many shapes, but trapezoids.
The trapezoid
is that the one with 5 sides?
Well, the
trapezoid
trapezoid
has
4.
It has 4.
But it could be a square or not. It's
coming in, so somebody's going to get trapped inside. Something's going to happen. See that? There he
goes.
There's more to the metaphor than just the sides of a shape.
I'll take it, Dakota. That'll work. So, how if people want to find Living V and get into it, is this crowdfunded too, or was it
a little bit? Yeah, we tried. We got a little bit of funding, but here before too long, we're going to start the funding up again. Brittany had a few other projects she was going to work on, and this is kind of her baby, so she didn't want to just keep pushing them out. She wanted to make sure everything was in place, and we got everything sorted away before we started filming again.
Absolutely, make sure it's good.
Yeah, because the script and plot and everything else is absolutely amazing. We just need to take a little more time here to make sure everything was in place as we go along here. But going along, everything should be really, really good.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, you could definitely tell, like, the plot and the storyline are both the storyline itself is incredibly written. And the plot, like I said before, it's not just, like we were talking about, you and another girl, like there's two women, but there's definitely more to that. It's not just a stereotypical love triangle.
Right.
Yeah.
There's really...
And there was some abusive cake in there, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was mad at the cake. I don't know what she did that for. Yeah, that's my fault again. But, yeah, not a very good boyfriend on TV, I don't think.
No. Hopefully it's better in real life.
Yeah, hey, we're a little better.
Oh, man. So right now the distribution is on Amazon. So if you want to see it, I guess you need to get an Amazon Prime subscription, or you can probably buy that one episode on there. Yeah,
Amazon Prime, or you can buy it, I believe, for somewhere between $1 to $3 if you want to watch just the episode, or you can... There's one other way you can do it through Amazon as well.
I think you can like buy the season, and as you get, and it'll take money off instead of just buying the individual episodes. Yeah.
So Isaac Goggle wants to know if we would consider this a political show today. No, we kind of gave the disclaimer earlier. This is a little bit off of our normal path. Typically, Boss Hog Liberty is a more political show. Thursday night, we're still going to have a very political episode with Chad Malicote, the park board president here in Henry County, and Chase Payton will be on here. But today, this is basically we're just taking the time while Ben's in town to profile him and highlight him a little bit and learn. Since we have the opportunity for him to be here, kind of expand our horizons a little bit.
It's not been a political episode, but it's still been, like, for me, it's been educational.
Absolutely.
I learned that it's not just for TV, but they actually do have buffets at.
That's right.
High budget sets.
They do.
So.
A lot of good food.
I was the campaign manager for Rex Bell when he ran for governor. I don't know where's our Rex Bell sign? It's over here in the corner.
Rex Bell's over there.
Yeah, we got Rex a couple different spots.
Special spot.
So Rex ran for governor of Indiana, so we got to go to the statewide debates, and that was the place where we got our all-you-can-eat food buffets.
All right.
We had before the debate they'd take care of whoever the next governor was, whether it was my guy or the Democrat or the Republican.
Yeah.
We had our all-you-can-eat spreads there. So
hey,
you can
love it.
At some point in life you have to make a decision whether or not you're going to be in politics, which is Hollywood for ugly people like me, or if you want to go down the acting side, and that's the for people that are 7 foot tall like Ben.
Right.
You can't really say it's politics for attractive people, because typically the people like Ben are just like, you guys, I'm better than this.
Yeah, I'm sure that the acting thing is probably a little bit political too, though. It's a lot of relationships and getting to know people and dealing with things the same way. The politics stuff around here. I don't know if you've followed what's happened around the house, but around Newcastle while you've been gone. But there's a statue that's got everybody upset, and don't say anything about windmills or pinwheels or anything. Yeah.
I did hear about the windmills.
They're that's like the third rail, the holy grail of don't touch it.
Right.
You want no part.
The precious Memorial Park Doughboy statue also needs. Don't move it. That's what they're saying. Please save our Doughboy.
There's a big meeting coming up Monday. I was on the park board in Henry County, and I'm not anymore. I got off of that board, or resigned a couple months ago, because I had some other stuff coming up, and I knew I was going to be engaged, and I didn't know I was going to have a puppy at the time, but now that's come on. Thank God. But that board's meeting Monday, and Dakota's going to go out there and protest.
What? What's so funny?
Just laughing about Jeremiah bringing up this puppy again. He's so stressed out about it.
Oh my God, it's real. Have you ever had a puppy? Have you been through this?
While I was still in Indiana, yes.
Yeah,
it was a hassle, but I figured, I just
No.
leave it. If
No.
it peed. I cleaned it, and I got over it, and it grew up and got better.
The dog I have, I got him when he was 3, and he was perfect then, and he's still perfect now. Going through puppy stage, man. It's I'm more nervous about that than I am about getting married. I just we'll be fine eventually, but man, it's
Hey, Daisy turned out just fine.
She did. There you go. You have all hardwood floors, just about.
Yeah, except for the bedroom.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, we're back to puppy talk again. All right, so
off track.
We have crashed the car. So, a couple teasers I guess I have, and we'll ask Ben about what he what other projects he's got coming up. But Next week on the we talked about Chad Malacote being on the Boss Hog Liberty podcast Thursday. Brett Bittner, we recorded an episode in here last week that will be on the We're Libertarians Network. Trying to desperately find the name of his show because I make fun of it all the time and say the wrong thing. It's called You Can't Outrun the Fork. Brett obviously went through diabetes and lost an awful lot of weight. I've kind of picked up the South Beach diet and I'm down 36 pounds as of today. So kind of a profile on that. And then the following week, Cade Koger will be on that show. So I would expect to see that if you subscribe to Brett's podcast by Wednesday or Thursday of this week, you should see that in there and get a little bit more Jeremiah if there's not enough in your life.
Yeah. I let you and Bittner in my house.
I know, without you.
Yep. Previously, this has been a hashtag Never Bittner house.
You went to your grandmother's birthday party and she didn't show up.
Well, it wasn't that. I thought that it was her birthday party, but it wasn't. Like she didn't know it was her birthday party. I thought it was. I still got you an application to apply for the local elk.
You
Lodge.
did. I cannot. That's the other big thing. If Dakota and I don't have enough friendship already, we're going to I'm joining the Elks Club to hang out with him on Wednesdays because he says I'm out of free passes. I can't go.
I can only take somebody in there 3 times. It's not just all.
It's not an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's not like Rushville.
Yeah, it's not like the buffet.
The Rushville.
Yeah, it's not like the buffet that you get. Like
I was told there's a buffet at the Elks Club, and that was the way Dakota sold me on it. So we'll see. We'll see if they let me in. If I can become a benevolent elk. I'm a legacy. My grandfather was an elk, so I feel like that should help me, Audrey. Anyway, Ben, tell us about what other projects you got coming up. What if there's anything that you want people to follow you, learn about you, hire you. What?
All right, yeah, hire me whenever. But we did a short film that's pretty amazing. Our artist Esteban Watson put together what combined a music video with like a whole story that went along with it, and it just won a award out in Hollywood. First film festival we put it in. Got nominated for another one, and that thing's going crazy. It's going to be in all sorts of music.
The short I saw it on your Facebook page. Is that Emerge? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Okay. So that'll be thrown around everywhere. That one was a great. I mean, if you watch it, I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it keeps you interested. It's like you have to watch that one. But that one's a really good one as well. 3 more auditions this week to get done. Just kind of working on that, doing everything. It's pretty much how it works. Just audition and
those are on. Those are not in person necessarily. You like record a demo video or something and send it in?
No, a lot of them are self-taped, so I can tape it, and we have instructions what my agent wants us to do. Then a lot of the things are booked off that, but major, or I guess bigger projects would be booked in person after that.
Okay.
Well, we have the Boss Hog Liberty studio here with light kits and microphones. So if you need a radio studio,
it's good to go.
We've got this here in your hometown, I guess.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. You're welcome anytime. Follow you. Do Twitter, Instagram? What's the best way if you want people?
Instagram is David Ben Smith. I think that's what it is now. Pretty sure that's right. David Ben Smith, and then Facebook's BSNC40. I think that's connected to my Twitter. I never get on there, but whatever I post on Facebook will be.
Are you verified on the Twitter yet? You got your check mark?
No, I think I only have like 300 people on there. Not quite verified.
Not yet.
I need to mess around with that a little more. I have so many other things going on. Like, get on Facebook, do that. I go on Instagram, do that. I go on Snapchat, I do this. And it's just like.
You have other things going on, so the blue check mark by your name is like very low priority.
One day.
life goals.
If they ask, so hey, I'll put it there. But
we don't have
one day.
We still don't have a Boss Hog Liberty Twitter deal. That's probably the Twitter to me is I use it for sports. I use it to follow IndyCar and football. Yeah. Just to sit there during a football game and be a smartass and watch it.
I'm never on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's too compressed.
You're too young and I'm too old for Twitter.
Yeah,
you got to be.
They made it.
You got to be like 28,
150
right?
words now or something. But yeah.
Yeah, it was always way too compressed for me.
Yeah, I never did it.
I can't get anything out of my mind in 128 characters.
Yeah, and I'm shortening half my words and trying to figure it out. And I spend 10 minutes on a message that should have sent, 8 minutes ago, and then you're just like, all right.
Twitter's just for the
Give
president
up.
at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but really.
At this
All
point, you have a Twitter so you can follow Donald Trump and just laugh like that.
It just makes the news. It's on the you know, on the Indianapolis Star's website or on CNN within 20 minutes, so you just catch it there. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us,
Oh, no
man.
problem,
This is
guys.
fun. I'm glad to have you in the studio and finally get you here. And don't be a stranger by any means.
Oh yeah.
Audrey, Joe, anything you need to promote? Big
Nope.
excitement coming up.
Nope.
The rest
I'm
of your
good.
life, you're just good.
You have a
Good.
puppy. That's pretty big.
Wait.
Hey, I hear you're getting a puppy.
Oh, really? How'd you know?
I do need to thank you, by the way. You showed up on Saturday morning against your will and helped the
Yes,
4-H
you do
junior
need
leaders
to
make some
thank
cheese
me.
balls. So thank you very much publicly, Audrey. This is your thanking.
You're very welcome.
And you learned that I treat you just the way I treat everybody else in my life. That was your one
Horribly.
observation.
Horribly.
I'm abusive to everybody around me.
Terrible friend to everybody.
Well, thank you, Audrey, for joining in and holding me accountable
Of course.
to what I am. Dakota, we got like 2 more days and we're doing this again.
Yep. We're gonna be doing 2 podcasts this week. This is gonna be after Thursday's show and having to talk about this, the Doughboy and everything. It's gonna be pretty exhausting. Like I was with Chris Spangle after he did 3 shows in that 1 week.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing that right now. Like I don't think that I'm to that point yet. And his shows are so much longer than ours. Like we keep ours around that 60-minute mark, and his are 2 hours. So I'm just gonna give a shout out to Chris because he is a much better podcaster than I am at this point in my career.
You're by the time we get to Thursday, you're not gonna be sleeping because you're gonna have a new puppy. I texted Jeff Vibert today, my buddy, and
my God.
Jeff said it will change your life. And Jeff is a little ball of energy. He's got 2
We get
puppies,
it.
and he's I just
I think you're
Just-
you're
You're not even picking up your own puppy.
no, you're delivering it for me.
Yes.
I
You have
found
a
the puppy.
delivery service for
Right.
your puppy.
Thank you. It's a courier service.
I think
So
we need to
stressed
start a
out.
poll for a name.
Yeah, we
I have mine, but
people
you do not.
people can write on the wall or comment on here,
He had
whichever
that
method
one,
you want to.
Fritz, like
I don't like
Morrell-
it.
F.
Change it.
Morrell
Scott
at-
Fitzgerald.
I will not let my dog have a brother named Fritz.
Morrell at wearelibertarians.com or Jeremiah at bosshogliberty.com. Send me an email. Tell me what I need to name the dog, and I'll
Please.
submit them to Sarah for approval.
Brantley Spicer just said Rand, Audrey.
No.
Look at this.
He really
just
did.
said Rand.
Stop. It's not a real name.
Brantley, that is exactly what I suggested.
That was
the
She
very
shot
first
it
name
down.
he
It's not
came
a
up
real
with.
name.
I cannot believe it. That is
You owe
great.
Brant $25 now.
I'm serious.
Apparently he came
Brantley
through on the-
Spicer
on the-
just reignited the energy within me to get you to name this dog Rand.
We already named
I
him.
got 24 hours, Brantley.
We already named him.
My grandfather used to call everything Fritz, so I kind of like Fritz, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I don't think Sarah likes it, and I think that's where it's not going very well.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
You just said to us the other day,
Fritz.
whatever she wants.
Whatever she wants to name it. I have veto power, obviously, but but if she doesn't want
Jeez.
Fritz, we won't have Fritz. Anyway, follow me at Jeremiah Morrell on the Twitter. You'll reach me. Nobody else ever tweets me, so you can do that. Hit me up on Facebook. I do ask that people like and subscribe to the Boss Hog Liberty Facebook page. Still chasing that 100 subscribers on YouTube. Once we get to that, we'll have our URL, and I'm going to print sweet business cards up for Dakota and I. And then after that, man, once you get business cards, Ben, you're off and
set,
running,
man.
right?
That's right.
All right. We will see you guys on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeareLibertarians.com.